Good evening, my weary academics, and welcome to History to Sleep By, where we nerd out and conk out. If you enjoy calm, narrated history documentaries, or just need a reliable friend to help with restless nights, please subscribe, leave a like, and maybe share a comment about what's happening in your life. That way you'll always find your way back to us. Now, let's begin tonight's journey. On a mild day in March 1781, the quiet woods near present-day Greensboro, North Carolina, became the stage for a pivotal encounter in the American Revolutionary War. The Battle of Guilford Courthouse unfolded amidst rolling ridges and scattered fields, where the dense forest stood as silent witness. British Lieutenant General Charles Cornwallis, seeking a decisive blow in the Carolinas, led his seasoned troops into this landscape. Opposing him was Major General Nathanael Greene, a commander intent on wearing down the British forces while preserving his own army for future engagements. The terrain around Guilford Courthouse was a mix of wooded ridges and small fields, interspersed with fence lines and narrow roads. This setting provided Greene with the opportunity to deploy his forces in a strategic three-line defense. At the forefront stood the North Carolina militia, with skirmishers positioned even further forward to harass the advancing British. Behind them, the Virginia militia formed the second line, while the third line comprised seasoned Continental troops from Maryland and Delaware, supported by artillery. Cornwallis's forces were a formidable array, featuring the elite guards, the 23rd and 33rd Regiments of Foot, light infantry, and the fierce Highlanders. Commanders like James Webster and Charles O'Hara, along with cavalry under Banastre Tarleton, added to the strength of the British formation. As the British advanced, the air filled with the sharp reports of artillery, signaling the opening exchange of the battle. The skirmishers engaged first, their sporadic shots echoing through the trees. As the British pressed forward, they encountered the North Carolina militia. These men, largely inexperienced, managed to deliver a volley before the pressure of the British advance forced them to withdraw. Their partial stand, however brief, was a testament to their resolve under fire. The British continued their relentless push, meeting the second line of Virginia militia. Here, resistance was mixed. Some units held their ground, while others, overwhelmed by the disciplined British assault, fell back. The fighting grew more intense as the British neared the third line, where the Continentals awaited. At this juncture, the battle reached its fiercest. The Maryland Continentals, renowned for their discipline and courage, launched a counterattack against the British Guards. The clash was brutal, with both sides locked in a desperate struggle. In the center and on the right, the fighting was particularly hard, with neither side willing to concede ground. In the midst of this melee, Cornwallis made a fateful decision. To break the deadlock, he ordered his artillery to fire grape shot into the thick of the fight. This risky move, intended to shatter the American resistance, caused chaos, but ultimately forced Greene to order a withdrawal. Despite the confusion, the American forces managed a controlled retreat, leaving the field to the British. Though Cornwallis held the ground at the end of the day, it was a costly victory. The British suffered heavy casualties, a toll that weakened Cornwallis's field force significantly. Greene, on the other hand, achieved his objective of preserving his army, withdrawing in good order to fight another day. The impact of the battle was profound. While a tactical victory for the British, the severe losses they sustained shifted their operational focus. Cornwallis turned his attention toward the coast, eventually moving to Wilmington and then northward into Virginia. This strategic shift would lead to the eventual convergence of forces at Yorktown, where the war would reach its climax. As the night settles in, let the echoes of history lull you into rest. The Battle of Guilford Courthouse, with its woods and fields, its courage and chaos, remains a testament to the complexities of war and the resilience of those who fight. Sleep well, knowing that history, like life, is a tapestry of moments woven together, each with its own story to tell. In the quiet aftermath of the Battle of Guilford Courthouse, the landscape bore silent witness to the cost of conflict. The fields, once vibrant with the sounds of nature, now lay still, marked by the passage of armies. As the sun dipped below the horizon, shadows stretched across the land, cloaking the remnants of the day in a gentle embrace. The soldiers, weary from the fray, found what rest they could, their dreams haunted by the echoes of cannon fire and the cries of their comrades. In the days that followed, Cornwallis's army moved with a purpose born of necessity. The decision to head toward the coast was not made lightly. Supplies were dwindling, and the need for reinforcements was pressing. Wilmington, with its promise of resupply and regrouping, beckoned like a distant sanctuary. The march was arduous, the roads rough and unforgiving, yet each step brought them closer to the promise of relief. Meanwhile, the American forces, under the command of Nathanael Greene, regrouped and reevaluated their position. Though they had not secured a decisive victory, the battle had served its purpose. The British, though triumphant, were weakened, their strength sapped by the relentless resistance they had encountered. Greene's strategy, though costly, had succeeded in drawing the British away from their strongholds, stretching their lines thin and forcing them into a defensive posture. As Cornwallis's troops made their way to Wilmington, the landscape around them began to change. The dense forests gave way to more open terrain, the air carrying the scent of salt from the nearby sea. The soldiers, though weary, felt a renewed sense of determination. The coast promised not only supplies, but also the possibility of naval support, a crucial element in maintaining their campaign. In the American camp, Greene and his officers gathered to discuss their next moves. The decision to shadow Cornwallis was made with careful consideration. By keeping pressure on the British, they hoped to exploit any opportunity that might arise. The war, after all, was as much about patience and positioning as it was about battles and bloodshed. Each decision, each movement, was a piece in a larger game, one that required foresight and flexibility. As the days turned into weeks, the British arrival in Wilmington brought a brief respite. The soldiers, grateful for the chance to rest and resupply, took stock of their situation. Yet, even in this moment of reprieve, the shadow of uncertainty loomed large. The war was far from over, and the path ahead was fraught with challenges. Cornwallis, ever mindful of the broader strategic picture, began to consider his next steps. The move northward into Virginia seemed increasingly appealing, promising new opportunities and the potential to link up with other British forces. The decision to advance into Virginia was not without its risks. The terrain was unfamiliar, the logistics complex. Yet, Cornwallis was undeterred. The prospect of striking a decisive blow against the American forces was a powerful motivator, driving him and his men onward. As they marched northward, the landscape once again shifted, the coastal plains giving way to rolling hills and verdant fields. In Virginia, the stage was set for a new chapter in the conflict. The convergence of forces, both British and American, hinted at the possibility of a climactic encounter. The war, which had raged for years, seemed to be drawing toward a pivotal moment. The air was thick with anticipation, each side acutely aware of the stakes. As the night deepened, the stars emerged, casting their gentle light over the land. The soldiers, both British and American, lay beneath the same sky, their fates intertwined by the currents of history. The journey from Guilford Courthouse to the fields of Virginia was but one thread in the tapestry of the war, each moment a testament to the endurance and courage of those who fought. In the quiet of the night, let the stories of the past cradle you in their embrace. The journey of Cornwallis and Greene, of soldiers and strategists, is a reminder of the complexities of human endeavor. As you drift into slumber, know that history, with its tales of triumph and trial, continues to unfold, a gentle whisper in the stillness of the night. The air was cool and crisp, carrying with it the scent of earth and foliage, a reminder of the land that both armies sought to claim. In the stillness, the occasional rustle of leaves or the distant call of a night bird punctuated the silence, a natural symphony that underscored the tension of the moment. Each soldier, wrapped in his own thoughts, contemplated the dawn and what it might bring. The night was a brief respite, a pause in the relentless march of events that had brought them to this point. On the British side, General Cornwallis pondered his next move. His mind was a map of strategies and possibilities, each decision a step along a precarious path. The campaign in the southern colonies had been arduous, marked by skirmishes and battles that tested his resolve and that of his men. Yet he remained steadfast, driven by duty and the hope of quelling the rebellion. As he lay beneath the stars, he considered the terrain, the rivers and roads that would guide his army's advance. Each choice weighed heavily, for he knew that the outcome of the war could hinge on the decisions made in these critical moments. Across the field, General Nathanael Greene also lay awake, his thoughts a mirror of Cornwallis's own. The American cause was fraught with challenges, but Greene was undeterred. His strategy of attrition, of wearing down the British forces through a series of tactical retreats and engagements, had brought him this far. He understood the land intimately, its contours and secrets, and he used this knowledge to his advantage. His men, though weary, were resolute, their spirits buoyed by the belief in their fight for independence. Greene's mind was a tapestry of plans and contingencies, each thread woven with care and foresight. As the night wore on, the soldiers on both sides found solace in the familiar routines of camp life. Fires crackled softly, casting a warm glow that danced across faces etched with fatigue and determination. The scent of wood smoke mingled with the cool night air, a comforting presence in the darkness. Some men wrote letters home, their words a bridge to loved ones far away. Others mended uniforms or tended to their weapons, small acts of preparation that lent a sense of purpose to the waiting. In the quiet moments before sleep, stories were shared, tales of home and hearth, of past battles and future hopes. These stories, passed from one soldier to another, wove a tapestry of camaraderie and shared experience. They were a reminder that, despite the vastness of the conflict, each man was part of something larger, a collective endeavor that transcended individual fears and doubts. As the first light of dawn began to creep over the horizon, the camp stirred to life. The soldiers rose from their makeshift beds, shaking off the remnants of sleep. The air was thick with the scent of dew and anticipation, a tangible reminder of the day ahead. Breakfast was a hurried affair, a simple meal that provided sustenance for the hours to come. The clatter of tin cups and the murmur of voices filled the air, a symphony of sound that marked the transition from night to day. With the sun rising, the landscape was revealed in all its glory. The fields stretched out before them, a patchwork of greens and browns, dotted with trees that stood as silent sentinels. The river, a ribbon of silver in the early light, wound its way through the land, a natural barrier that both armies would have to navigate. The sky, a canvas of soft hues, promised fair weather, a small mercy in the midst of uncertainty. As the soldiers prepared for the day's march, there was a sense of purpose that infused their movements. Each man knew his role, his place in the intricate dance of military strategy. Orders were given, flags unfurled, and the columns began to form. The sound of drums and bugles echoed across the fields, a call to arms that stirred the blood and quickened the heart. The journey from Guilford Courthouse to Virginia was a testament to the resilience and determination of both armies. It was a journey marked by hardship and sacrifice, by moments of triumph and despair. Yet, it was also a journey of discovery, of learning and growth, as each side adapted to the challenges they faced. The land itself, with its rivers and forests, hills and valleys, became a teacher, imparting lessons that would shape the course of the conflict. As the soldiers moved forward, the past and future seemed to converge, each step a link in the chain of history. The stories of Cornwallis and Greene, of their men and their struggles, were etched into the landscape, a testament to the enduring spirit of those who fought. In the quiet of the night and the light of the dawn, these stories continue to resonate, a gentle reminder of the complexities and courage of the human spirit. As you drift into slumber, let the echoes of the past cradle you, a soothing lullaby that carries you into dreams. In the early morning mist, the landscape lay still, a canvas of muted colors and soft whispers. The soldiers, weary from the march, found solace in the gentle embrace of the earth beneath them. The air was cool, carrying with it the scent of dew-kissed grass and the faint rustle of leaves. Each breath was a reminder of the life that pulsed quietly around them, a life that persisted despite the turmoil of war. The sun, still hidden beyond the horizon, hinted at its arrival with a faint glow, casting long shadows that danced across the ground. As the light grew, so did the activity within the camps. Fires crackled to life, their warmth a welcome comfort against the morning chill. The smell of wood smoke mingled with that of cooking, a simple meal to fuel the day ahead. Conversations were hushed, voices low and measured, as if in reverence to the morning's tranquility. Men tended to their gear, checking muskets and adjusting straps, each movement a practiced ritual. The clink of metal and the soft thud of boots on earth were the soundtrack to their preparations. Nearby, the horses stirred, their breath visible in the cool air. They shifted and stamped, eager for the day's journey. The soldiers moved among them, offering gentle words and steady hands. These animals, steadfast companions in the campaign, were as much a part of the army as the men themselves. Together, they formed a bond forged in the fires of shared hardship and mutual reliance. As the sun finally crested the horizon, its rays spilled over the landscape, painting it in hues of gold and amber. The soldiers, now ready, gathered in formation. Orders were given, clear and concise, cutting through the morning stillness. The march began anew, a steady rhythm of footfalls and hoofbeats that carried them forward. The path ahead was uncertain, yet each step was taken with purpose, driven by the resolve that had brought them this far. The terrain unfolded before them, a tapestry of fields and forests, each with its own story to tell. The soldiers moved through it with a quiet respect, aware of the history that lay beneath their feet. The land, once a stranger, had become a familiar companion, its contours and features etched into their memories. It was a landscape that demanded both caution and courage, a constant reminder of the challenges they faced. As they advanced, the soldiers found themselves reflecting on the journey that had brought them to this point. The trials and triumphs, the moments of doubt and determination, all woven into the fabric of their experience. Each man carried with him a piece of that history, a personal narrative that intertwined with the larger story of the conflict. It was a story of resilience and resolve, of ordinary individuals rising to meet extraordinary circumstances. The march continued, the hours slipping by in a gentle procession. The sun climbed higher, casting its warmth over the land. The soldiers pressed on, their spirits buoyed by the promise of what lay ahead. They moved as one, a testament to the unity that had been forged in the crucible of war. It was a unity that transcended individual differences, binding them together in a common cause. As the day wore on, the landscape began to change. The fields gave way to rolling hills, their slopes dotted with wildflowers that swayed in the breeze. The path wound upward, a gentle ascent that offered glimpses of the world beyond. The soldiers paused, taking in the view, a moment of quiet reflection amid the march. It was a reminder of the beauty that persisted even in the midst of conflict, a beauty that offered hope and solace. The journey was far from over, yet each step brought them closer to their destination. The soldiers moved forward, guided by the lessons of the past and the promise of the future. The land, with its rivers and forests, continued to teach them, shaping their path and their purpose. It was a journey of discovery, of learning and growth, as each side adapted to the challenges they faced. As the sun began its descent, casting long shadows across the hills, the soldiers made camp for the night. The fires were lit once more, their glow a beacon in the gathering dusk. The men settled in, their voices mingling with the sounds of the evening. Laughter and stories filled the air, a testament to the camaraderie that had grown among them. It was a time of rest and reflection, a moment to gather strength for the days ahead. In the quiet of the night, the landscape lay still once more, a gentle reminder of the journey that continued. The soldiers drifted into slumber, their dreams a tapestry of past and future, woven together by the threads of history. As the stars appeared overhead, each one a distant light in the vast expanse, the echoes of the past cradled them, a soothing lullaby that carried them into the realm of dreams. As dawn broke, a soft light crept across the landscape, gently rousing the soldiers from their slumber. The air was crisp and cool, carrying with it the scent of dew-kissed grass and the distant promise of another day. Slowly the camp stirred to life, the men rising with the sun, their movements quiet and deliberate. The fires, now reduced to glowing embers, were coaxed back to life, their warmth a welcome comfort against the morning chill. Breakfast was a simple affair, shared in companionable silence. The men ate with a steady purpose, their thoughts already turning to the path ahead. As they prepared to break camp, the sounds of the morning filled the air, a symphony of birdsong and rustling leaves. The world seemed to awaken around them, each note a reminder of the life that thrived in this tranquil corner of the earth. With the camp packed away and their spirits lifted by the morning's calm, the soldiers resumed their journey. The path wound through the hills, a ribbon of earth that guided them onward. As they walked, the landscape unfolded before them, revealing new vistas with each step. The hills rose and fell like gentle waves, their slopes dotted with wildflowers that danced in the breeze. The rhythm of their march was steady and sure, a testament to their resolve. Each step carried them further into the heart of the land, a journey both physical and spiritual. The soldiers moved as one, their footsteps a quiet drumbeat that echoed through the hills. They were bound together by a shared purpose, a common goal that lent strength to their stride. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, its warmth seeped into their bones, a gentle reminder of the life-giving force that sustained them. The landscape shimmered in the midday light, a tapestry of color and texture that spoke of the earth's enduring beauty. The soldiers paused to rest in the shade of a great oak, its branches spreading wide like a protective canopy. In the cool embrace of the tree's shadow, they found respite from the heat. The men shared water and stories, their voices mingling with the rustle of leaves overhead. It was a moment of peace, a brief interlude in the journey that lay before them. The land stretched out around them, vast and unyielding, a testament to the passage of time. As the afternoon wore on, the shadows lengthened, casting long fingers across the ground. The soldiers rose once more, their spirits buoyed by the rest. They resumed their march, the path winding ever onward. The hills gave way to a gentle valley, its floor carpeted with soft grass that whispered beneath their feet. The valley was a place of quiet beauty, a sanctuary nestled within the embrace of the hills. The soldiers moved through it with reverence, their presence a fleeting moment in the valley's long history. The sun dipped lower in the sky, its golden light bathing the world in a warm glow. As evening approached, the men made camp once more. The fires were lit, their flames dancing in the twilight. The soldiers gathered around, their faces illuminated by the flickering light. The night was calm and clear, the sky a vast expanse of stars that seemed to stretch into infinity. The men spoke in hushed tones, their words a gentle murmur that blended with the night. They shared stories of home and dreams of the future, their voices weaving a tapestry of hope and longing. The fires crackled softly, their warmth a comforting presence in the cool night air. As sleep claimed them, the soldiers drifted into dreams, their minds a canvas painted with the colors of the past and the promise of what lay ahead. The night wrapped around them like a soft blanket, its stillness a balm for weary souls. The stars watched over them, silent guardians in the vastness of the sky. In the quiet of the night, the land lay still, a timeless witness to the journey that continued. The soldiers slept, their dreams a bridge between the world of waking and the realm of possibility. As the night deepened, the echoes of their journey lingered in the air, a gentle reminder of the path they walked and the history